So this morning when I was listening to the radio while I was going to work, and my man started talking about how he asked the question. He said, "Hey, how many of you like take a condom with you when you go to a funeral?" I
To
was
a
like, "A
funeral?
funeral." My man was like, "Hey, yo, you never know. Like, you get together with people. You know, some people emotions are high. You never know, right?" But I mean, well, that's a whole other discussion. But so then they started talking about how like reunions, right? They said they were like class reunions, college reunions. They were like, yeah, you were people that you haven't seen in a while. Like, of course you're gonna come prepared. And I was like, oh god, man. I was like,
What,
why
a
is it?
condom? It's just like bringing a condom and just being ready just
Yeah,
in
for like,
case. Because old feelings come up. You're just like, yeah, I wish I told you this back then, but I thought you was really cute. The craziest part is when you bring a condom to a family reunion. Anyway, welcome to the Unsolicited Counseling Podcast. I'm your host. This is Martin.
I'm your boy Jermaine.
And we just talking about we got a reunion coming up this week. By the time we're recording this episode, it'll be past. But right now, we're currently going to reunion tomorrow. I think that's when
Yes.
we're heading out. So we're just talking about how much we've grown since then in the previous episode, and just always being ready. Like you never know what's going to happen when you get to campus, when you get back around people that you haven't seen in a while. Some old fires could get lit. You
Oh,
never know.
old fires can get lit, and this is like a quote that I heard. It's perfectly applies to this. I heard this quote on a YouTube channel from a guy I follow. He was referring to guns. Like he said, stay strapped to get clapped." And I think I guess it's stay strapped and get clapped. Like I don't know. But I was like,
I
I
mean,
feel like that was like the perfect place to put this in. But yeah, bro, like yeah, reunion's coming up. We're both like really excited for it. And yeah, like you said, this episode is going to be recorded previously before our reunion. So, but yeah, no, we're definitely excited. We're definitely excited. But before we go on to the topic, how you feeling, fam?
bro, can I tell you something? My confidence is sky high right now. Like nothing can knock me off this pillar of like happiness and faith and like just confidence that I have going on. So as been working out, been working on my running. I like recently ran my fastest 5K, ran my longest run. I had a nice easy run for the first time. I've never done an easy run. I never knew how to do it, like how to just kind of run slow. It sounds stupid, but I didn't know how to run slow and just keep a consistent pace for an extended period of time. I was able to do that for the first time today, and it just felt great. Something that you mentioned in an older episode is like you been able to look into the mirror and like you see yourself. Like I thought I knew what you meant, but today, like I actually saw myself.
Mm.
Like I was feeling good about my progress because I've lost 10 pounds since the beginning of the year. I've like my face is thinned out a little bit. Like I just walk around with more confidence. I see people looking at me, and I know, I'm married, right? I'm off the market. I got two rings to
You
try.
got two
Like
rings.
I'm
You got like
strapped. I'm
two
locked up.
phones.
Yeah, I got two rings, one for the wife and one for the host. Like I mean, not so.
My pocket go ring, ring, ring.
Right. But no, it's like just seeing other people look at you and they're like, "Oh man, like you looking good. Like you looking like a snack." Like I went out with my boy, Ramon, and we were just chilling at the bar, and this girl came up, and started talking, and I was just like, "Oh no, no, I'm married, blah blah blah, whatever." And she just like didn't deter her at all. Like she's just like, "Okay, but she's not here," type deal. And while I fed her so much bullshit and so much negative stuff that like I would think would push her away, and she just kept standing there and kept talking. And I was like, man, one, this girl's persistent. Two, I appreciate that you see me in this like light, and you're just like, oh, because like I've been putting in work. I feel good that I've been putting in this work, and that I could have this influence or this like riz going on, where she's just like, I'm gonna stay and keep talking. But I know in my heart of hearts it don't matter. The only person whose opinion that really matters is my wife. So I want to put that out there. But
But
it still feels good to get
oh yeah,
appreciated by somebody else, especially the opposite sex. Like when your boys do it, it's just like you know, if you were like, yo, I see you, bro. You been putting in that work. I see
Yeah,
you
bro.
coming up.
Hey, that creatine. No,
See, and that's the thing. I got off the creatine. And I
oh,
think that's what changed
okay.
my life.
Okay,
So
that's
now I'm
it.
like thinning out. I'm not like bulky anymore. I'm just like thinning out. Just you know, I feel sexy. Like I feel hot as fuck when I like wake up in the morning, and that's when I saw myself in the mirror. It was like, oh, bro, like you put in the work, you doing you, and I was like smiling, and this smile hasn't left my face all day. So, other than that, work is going well. You know, like you said, we got reunion coming up, so I'm just excited to go see everybody else and get weird. Let's get
Yeah,
weird
let's
and
get
let's get
weird.
weird at Lynchburg College. And Lynchburg College, Lynchburg, Virginia.
There you go. I
Let's
was like,
get weird. Let's get weird. Anyway, like I always say, life's good, wife's good. How you doing, bro?
bro, that is like one first, like I'm proud of you because that's awesome. Like you got, you actually like have that moment where you see truly who you are and like your progress and stuff. So first, awesome, proud of you. Congratulations on the 10-pound loss, bro. This is not an easy feat, and like you're doing it, especially the running. I'm actually gonna ask you late off the pod like how you do the negatives because when we were running the marathon, this man was like, "Hey yo, this ain't no thing." I was like, "Yo, we gotta run at a slow pace. We gotta make it, bro." He was like, "Slow? I don't even know what that means." Meanwhile, this dude got a broke knee. It's like,
Bro,
hobbling, but hey, like honestly, you did more than most people would ever do in their life. So first, congratulations on that.
thank
Um,
you.
but yeah, no, like actually, so it's funny that you mentioned like seeing yourself. Like I've been on a low for the past what, like 4 or 5 days, like from Thursday basically to like today, and I had that moment where I was like, God damn, boy. Like this is like I was like, okay, now I was like, oh, welcome back. It was like, hey yo, we back. Like because it was like it was probably like a week, but I think it was going on for a little bit longer than that, where I was like, I lost myself and whatever. I was doing like the work, you know what I'm saying, getting my goals done, doing the reminders and all that reading and all that stuff. But I lost myself. And
Hmm.
then I was in the gym today, you know what I'm saying? And again, had the same moment. I was like, been putting in work. I just see it. I was like, damn, I'm a good looking you. I was like, God damn, all right, cool. And then just like all like even just today, just like people just started just coming to me and just like talking to me. And I didn't have to do that. I was just being me. But I think it's the confidence and like once you have that confidence and know who you are and like love yourself truly, and you're like, I don't care what anybody thinks. It's not even an
Hmm.
ego thing, it's more just like an acceptance thing. And I think that it radiates out to other people. And they're like, oh, this person seems cool because whoever comes in and out of my life, it don't matter, right? Like you say, you care about the people you love, but like other people, you're like, thank you for coming and like talking to me. Like I appreciate you. But at the same time, if you want to like get out of my life, like that's cool too. It ain't gonna hurt
Yeah,
me.
but I also think that there's something about when you're happy, like people want to be around that energy. People gravitate towards you because you have that like positive mindset, the positive energy. Like you're always happy and smiling. You're not like pulling people down with you. You're uplifting people because people say, "Man, I saw him come from where he was to where he is now. Like I want to do that too. I need to follow and kind of do what that person's doing." That's kind of what I took from when 5 years ago reunion. We were both like big boys, and I saw your progression and I was like, man, how do I get to that point? And like in the past, I would like do like these crazy crash diet type tactics, the keto, and like do things that would make me lose weight really quickly and then like gain it back. Now I'm kind of like doing this slow, sustained weight loss process, and like I have way more energy. I feel more happy. Like I have, I'm just in a better place, and all that is kind of thanks to watching you go through that. And I was like, I want to be around this person more because you inspired me. So you definitely inspired me to get to where I am today.
Thank
So
you,
I
bro.
want to give you that shout out. I ain't trying to get all gross in the podcast, but
Look,
you
man, I
inspired
love
me.
you, man, too.
Ugh,
Look, man,
gross. We're
you saw
talking
me when
about
I was,
love.
I, you saw me when I went from Fat Joe to Skeletor and then back because of Yo, I
You went
got it
from Weight
so
Watchers to the Weight Watchers. You
exactly.
like,
They were like, "Hey, yo, bro, do we need to look up?" I had so many people in me. They was like, "Bro, what happened? You need to eat a sandwich." I was like,
right?
and I
Yo,
was
give
like,
my
"Nah,
man
bro."
two burgers.
Exactly. And then I rebound because I did the same. I did a crash diet, but now I'm doing the same thing. So, but yeah, like works good. Works good. My goal setting is good. So everything fine. I'm Gucci, bro. I'm feeling good, feeling great. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I'm on the podcast today. And on today, because we uplifting ourselves and stuff like that, and we have been in the past. I think our podcast kind of emulates this. Is we're talking about today positive masculinity. Today we're talking about
Mm,
masculinity, what it means to us and stuff like that. Because in the '90s, bro, if dudes talk about their feelings and like uplifting each other, it would have been like, I mean, lack of better terms, we'd be like, oh, they'd be like, hey, yo, this dude sus. Like, hey, man, we ain't gonna talk about this, man. Yo,
right.
what's wrong with him, right? You get exiled and stuff, right? Families, friends, stuff like that. But yeah, no, today we're gonna have a conversation about positive masculinity. So I want you to start. I know you sent me a
No, no,
link
no,
to
no,
it.
no, 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 no. That's not how we do this. You
I
know
try to
that's not how we
pass.
do this. Nah, I see you trying to pass it off to me, and I really appreciate you trying to
Look,
pass it because we love each other. But one thing that we also love is drinking. What you drinking right now?
thank you. See, look, this is why he the king of segways. He the king of
Bro, we're
segways
the
out.
team. I was like, man, I'm gonna let him take it this time, and then you
Hey,
let me down. But we balance each other out. Like when
we
you drop the ball, I pick it up. If I fumble, you score the touchdown.
see.
It
Look,
is what it is.
cocaine's one hell of a drug. I mean, vodka's one hell of a drink. All right, so what I'm drinking today is so first I started off with a shot of vodka. I don't know when this happened, and this is the testament of my me becoming weak. I took a shot of vodka and went straight to my head, so that's why.
Oh,
That's why I'm like, oh, but yeah. So started with a shot, and then I went to the Corona Premier, just a better Michelob Ultra, honestly. So I'm gonna give it. So I'm gonna base it off of Michelob. Michelob, I would give it like 7, 6.5, 7. It's basically a water, right? This
hmm.
got flavor, bro. Like it tastes like it. Don't taste like it's just like a higher Michelob, a better Miller Lite, way better Coors. If y'all Coors fans,
What about how does it compare to Bud Light?
oh god, it's so much better than Bud Light. We need to do a beer tier list. We'll do a beer tier list soon. But
We need a
this,
tier list episode in general. Like
yeah,
we got to
sure.
tier something: animes, beers, fast food, chicken sandwiches, Netflix series, something.
Oh
Like
yeah,
we
do
need a
that
tier list.
before we I leave Netflix because fuck them.
Oh,
Password sharing, bro. They doing password. Anyways, I ain't even gonna go on there. That's a whole other situation. But yeah, I would give this a 7.5. Corona Premier, like it's really good. Helps with my weight loss goals and stuff like that. So
mm,
highly recommend Corona Premier. If you drink a Michelob or Coors or Bud, switch to Corona Premier. You 90 calories, bro, and it tastes better than a Bud Light.
really?
Yeah, bro. I would highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Okay.
Put a
Only a
line in
seven
that
point
drink.
five.
I'll give it a 7. I mean, look, bro, it's not like an IPA or something like that. It's 7, 7.25. So three
That's what.
quarters,
That's
three
worse.
quarters, three quarters,
I was
three
like,
quarters,
now it's losing points for
seven and
not
three
being an
quarters.
IPA.
It's not IPA, bro. I'm bougie. It ain't IPA. But yeah, no, I'll give it. It's close to an 8, but I don't want to give it an 8 because it's not full body. It's not like it's just something to sip on. So it's a
my
good
man,
summer beer.
my man drinks wine. One time he started using the term like full body.
Hey, shout
Like,
shout out to our
yo, don't she ain't got them punch cards yet.
I was gonna
She don't got
say
them holes.
I was gonna say our past guest. Shout out to her because she helped me, and also our trip to Charleston. They helped me get me my taste stuff. But anyways, what you drinking, bro?
Yeah, so I'm gonna call this everything but the kitchen sink drink. And the reason I call it that is because I literally went into the fridge and I was like, what can I find to make a drink? Because I wasn't really feeling like having like a gin and tonic or like a margarita, but I had gin and I had like Sprite in the fridge that's been sitting in there for months. So it's flatter than Earth, really.
Oh,
Like it's
okay.
flatter than Kyrie
Shout
Irving's
out to
Earth.
Kyrie Irving.
It's flatter than Kyrie's Earth. But so there's some Sprite Zero in here. We also have a little bit of cranberry juice and some grapefruit juice, and we put a little bit of gin on top of it because I ain't worried about my figure because I got it. At least I'm feeling confident. So it is what it is. It's a solid drink. I mean, I feel like if the Sprite wasn't flat, it would be a good drink. But since it's flat and since it's zero Sprite, it's actually getting me there a lot quicker. I think it's like the aspartame in it that's getting me kind of drunk. So yeah, I can read up about that on your own. Just Google it. But diet sodas get you drunk faster. Anyway, I'm gonna give this a 683.
6 8. All right, so we're gonna do decimal points. Okay, we're gonna do a star
Yeah.
system.
Bro, it
we
gets a
going
six point
IGA.
eight three stars. It gets 6.83 stars. Like, what do you mean? It don't matter how many, how we do it. But it's I mean, it's solid, it's refreshing, it's getting me drunk. If you like gin, you're gonna like the drink. It's just when you have the word Sprite in it and you don't taste the bubbles, you're not getting that carbonation, it kind of falls off a little bit.
I thought you hated
But you know,
bubbles.
I do hate bubbles, but not when I'm expecting bubbles. So also we got the shout out to Bad Martha's Farmer Brewery. That's actually out there on Martha's Vineyard. I want to give them a quick shout out because it was a really nice brewery out there. They have the most bomb pizza for an island in the middle of the ocean. It's really weird how Martha's Vineyard it still exists today. Like it's crazy.
Bro,
Anyway,
I mean, you said Connecticut had the best pizza, bro. You gotta help me.
all right, listen. Connecticut best pizza. Oh man, that's another tier list. Connecticut best pizza. It was like that brick oven pizza, wood fire. No, it was brick oven up there. Brick oven pizzas up there. But the same thing in Bad Martha. They had that same brick oven pizza. So I'm partial to that. I really love that. Um, after that, it's obviously Papa John's with the stuffed crust piece. Chicago's not even on the list.
Oh my god. Anyways, on that,
Bro, if
look,
I want
I'm
lasagna, I'll go to an Italian restaurant.
you and Jamie both, bro. You're just like it's not pizza. It's basically a pie. It's basically pasta.
It's a
All
cheese
my
pie.
all my Chicago people, if y'all listening, or people that love Chicago deep dish, let us know. Is Chicago deep dish a pizza or not? Like, leave it in the comments below, or send us in on IG. What do you think? Actually, we should put a poll. Yeah, let us know
We'll
what
put
you
up a
think.
poll. We'll put up a poll.
Chicago deep dish, pizza or no? Is it cake?
It,
Anyway,
it's a pie. It's not real. Anyway, so
I'm so mad right
we're
now.
getting all hype right now. We're getting
I'm so
angry.
mad.
We're getting angry. He's upset because he knows it ain't pizza. But he's upset because that's his masculine instinct to just go in there and be frustrated at the first hint of like disrespect, at least how he feels it. But we're not talking about the toxic side of masculinity today. We're kind of talking about the more positive outlooks of masculinity. So, to you, what is masculinity to you? What does it mean to be masculine?
Dang, that is a tough that's a tough
Mm-hmm.
question. All right. All right, so I'll try. All right, so for me, what it means to be a masculine is like a protector, someone that like takes care of people. You know, takes care of people, and also like holds on to their word. They're like the whole like you're a man of your word or whatever. I mean, it could be anything, but someone that doesn't lie, owns up to their stuff is just like yeah, like I said, just like owns their stuff, a protector, and does what needs to be done. Works with their hands and carries helps the helpless and stuff like that. I won't say Superman because I ain't gonna give that man that clout. But
Please don't.
I'll say I'm not even gonna say Bruce Wayne. I'm gonna say Batman. Batman is a good example of like masculinity. He's fucked in the head, completely
I was
fucked.
like, you are pandering to me, and I appreciate that. But
He's
I'm not,
completely fucked.
bro. Who's the worst father, Batman or Goku?
I think Batman, man, my man, he brought in orphans, and he was like, "Y'all must crime fight for me." But he taught them life lessons. He taught them to like own up to your stuff if you make a mistake. He taught them like if you're gonna he encouraged them to be leaders and to move on. Like don't always be behind my shadow. go your own path. I mean, ain't work out for Tim Drake, but I mean everybody else like Batman deep
Ooh,
cut. But
right.
that's what I think is what masculinity means. Someone that basically stands up for what is right. You know, protects the people they love and owns their stuff. Like they're not gonna be flaky. If they say they're gonna do something, they're gonna do something. If they don't, they don't. And it's just like it is what it is. Like they are very like to the letter. So I think that's what masculinity is to me.
I think
Is
yeah, no, that's a good definition. As I echo all those sentiments, like you hear the term like a man of my word, and it's like a man meaning masculine. Like you want to make sure that you are true to what you say. You're going to actually follow through on the things that you commit to. You want someone who's going to be a protector and a provider. Like for if you're married or if you have kids, you want to be that guy who's going to be there to take care of your kids when they're having a hard time, or your wife if she's going through something, struggling. And someone who could be a financial provider too. I know this is like a lot of stuff that goes into, I think, masculinity, but like trying to be the best man, the best father, the best son, because it's not even just being, a father parent. It also goes all the way down to like being a son and being like respectful to your elders as well.
yeah.
But you also have the same thing where you have to make sure you set boundaries and you like are very firm in what you believe and what you stand for, and you can support it and not change who you are based on who your company. You're very steadfast in who you are and what you believe in, and I think that that's the biggest part of masculinity to me is you're not going to be swayed by the liberal media. I know you're not going to be
Wrong
you're not going to
podcast.
be
Wrong podcast.
wrong podcast. Where's Alex Jones? You're not going to be swayed by other people's opinion. You're not going to be swayed by the group thinking. You're going to come to your own conclusions, and you're going to stand true in those. Now, I'm going to give you the definition of masculinity based on what is it,
Merriam
Merriam-Webster?
Webster. Okay.
Merriam-Webster, because we don't have Jamie, but I got my laptop up.
All
So
right. Bet.
the actual definition of masculinity, based on Merriam-Webster, is qualities or attributes regarded as characteristic of men or boys. What did that tell you? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. What the fuck? Like, cause you can have like people that exhibit like masculine traits or qualities, but that doesn't because you just say anything a man is right. And we're gonna talk to masculinity in a in a later episode, but because you can just look at that, it depends on where you're at, right? Like I don't see like I ain't not dragging my dad or anything. My dad went to get cigarettes for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see that's a quality.
How do
Of,
you preface, I'm not going to drag my dad, continues to drag his dad?
I it just is what it is. But but yeah, like I look at it like you can't just like go. That's a blanket statement. They're just being safe. They're being safe. Um, and I even think the whole because what we've been going through this past like year and a half, right? Is I feel like a man should a sign of masculinity is vulnerability and being able to own their stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because you can like be like the old '90s, like I think it's just evolved a little bit. Like I feel like when it comes to masculinity now, it's like someone that understands their emotions and can address it and be able to speak openly about it, not like shoving it in and pushing it away because that was the old way, right? Like you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like now I'm like, oh okay, yeah, like a man can cry. That's fine. A man can cry. Look, Ted Lasso.
Bro, I was about to say the same thing. Had me in my feelings. I didn't see the
I
finale,
haven't seen the
so don't
finale yet.
spoil it.
That's
Okay,
happening
okay,
tonight. I'm watching it tonight.
right. Okay, I had to get that out the way. I was like, don't spoil it, because I just blocked a couple people because they started trying to talk about it. I was like, don't you do this to me.
Hmm. So that would be a great thing to refer to after we go over our results is Ted Lasso because I think that's a perfect example of what today's masculinity is a good representation of. Because when I see even like Ted, if y'all haven't seen the what episode we're
Season
on
3.
episode 9, season
It's
3.
episode 9.
I think the last episode we haven't seen the finale, but this past episode, his mom came over and looked at them. We're gonna go in this later, but if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, I would say I highly recommend the show. It's a very good example of what masculine, how we see masculinity in our podcast, at least personally me, is emulated in Ted and who else is good dude? I am Roy. You know, Roy, he's little,
He growing,
he
Jamie.
growing. Jamie's growing too. So it's like you see them where they were not you, not you, Siri, but
Right.
Jamie. But you see them where they started in season one. They all have issues or all like old belief systems on what it means to be a man, and they're all going towards like the people that had that old way of thinking is going to Ted's way of thinking, and Ted is now moving closer to the middle. They're all moving closer to the middle. It's not.
It's
It's
the
not too
character
extreme.
development, man. The character development in this show is phenomenal. No one is where they were at the beginning of this of the premiere episode. Everyone has evolved and changed. You have Rebecca, who we got to do a Ted Lasso
We gotta
episode.
do a Ted
But I'm
Lasso
about to say
episode.
Rebecca is no longer like out to get her husband, her ex husband. Now she's like confident who she is, and she, bro, it's so much you can go into,
Mm-hmm.
and that's an episode for another time. I'm not going to rehash what you just said. But yeah, like Ted Lasso made me cry, and I feel fine admitting that to the public because I think that's a new form of masculinity. And speaking of masculinity, we did a test. We went on Google. We did like a masculine archetypes test.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give you a little bit of background on this archetype test, it was a book that was actually published by, because I don't have my stuff ready, R.L. Moore and Gillette D. Not to be confused by the shaving company.
I hate you. I knew
Uh,
you were gonna say that.
I could. It was low hanging fruit, and I had to hit it. But there's a book called "The King, Warrior, Magician, Lover: Rediscovering the Archetypes of the Mature Masculine." And there's a quiz you can do online to kind of figure out your percentages in each of these archetype types. So I guess getting into it a little bit, the four types are the king, the warrior, the lover, and the magician.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, looking at this right now, I don't know how they did percentages, how that all worked out. But I think we're going to go one by one, give our percentage. I'll give you a description of what each one is. And then maybe afterwards, we can decide whether or not we feel like we fit into that category appropriately, or if that percentage is accurate. What do you think? Think that makes sense?
That makes sense. I'm ready. Lay it on me
All right. All right. So the first category we're going to start with is king. We got our crowns on. We come
with
into
my
this
crown.
podcast with a heavy heart. We let you guys know that like we are all responsible. We're all important. We kings out here. My king percentage was 80% king.
God damn.
80% king. And for me, that doesn't surprise me. And I'll get into the description later. But for me, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
I
so
so
what's your king?
it's funny. I didn't read the description, so I've only read my highest description percentage. But my king percentage was actually 75%.
75. Okay.
I was shocked to see 75%. Not gonna lie, I was like,
And that wasn't your highest?
no, 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 no.
Okay. So full disclosure, I have two things that are tied at 80%.
I,
Those King was one of my highest ones,
I have two
and I have
things
another one that's also
highest as well, but they're both second tier.
okay. One of mine is like lacking, but I'm sure it's going to not be a surprise to many people when I get to it. So, a king, the explanation for the king energy is men who have access to king energy lead lives characterized by order, stability, justice, and meaning. They can make major life decisions independently and are benevolent and creative. Furthermore, men with healthy king energy can be yielding, encouraging, and stern as the situation requires, with a constant ability to bless the younger people in their lives for the real achievements and qualities they have realized in themselves. The teacher commending one of his top students, the boss giving one of the most loyal employees a promotion, or the officer distinguishing one of the best soldier in his regime or in his regiment could all be said to channel the king energy. So that is the king energy. Um, I think that this is me to a T personally. Like I definitely give respect where respect is due, and I definitely like to see a lot of people grow. Like my whole thing, the whole podcast, you've listened to it from day one to now. I care most about self growth, self improvement, and everyone bettering themselves. And I think that that's the king energy in a nutshell. It's like, hey, if you do the good work, you put in the work, you keep growing, you keep improving, you should reap the rewards, and I'm going to give you the kudos. Jermaine came in, and I told him just now in the podcast, I saw you put this work in. You went from hungry, hungry hippo to I'm starving to the Adonis that you are today. Like I'm giving you those kudos, those credits because I've seen that growth, and I think that it's great growth on your part. So for me, I think that the king is fitting as my 80% because I do try to live by those same codes and that moral. What about you?
with the king, now that you mentioned and you listed it out, I do see myself in that like a little bit. So I'm not that surprised now that the because I saw King and I was like King, but I also like I think I'm overly humble. I'm a humble dude. I also like I downplay my like view of how I help people or what I do for people. Like bringing up my nephew, right? Like trying to teach
Hmm.
him the ways of our, I guess, like our conversation we're having now, our like new view of masculinity versus like the masculinity like he's learning through like the mean streets of Richmond, Virginia. But just like looking at the people and like trying to like pushing them and giving them credit. Like I have coworkers that I help work out and um with my friends like like us pushing each other and congratulating each other on like runs and us losing weight and like you said, like same for you. Like I'd say, I gas you up all the time.
Bro. And that's the true key of a friendship right there. Is make sure you gassing each other up, make sure you keeping them on task, but also calling them out on their bullshit, like I've done in the past too. Like when you doing something that I think is ass backwards, I'm like, nah, bro, like yeah, y'all should have broke up, or y'all should have.
Oh yeah, 110%. But yeah, now that you mention all that stuff, like I can see that. I also it seems like King is not just like the dictator type king. It's like a benevolent king, a humble king, someone that's like I'll call you out on your. I can tell you like when you're doing like fucked up shit, but at the same time, I'm going to praise you when you put in the work. So I
Correct.
see that. That's awesome, man. All right, so where we going next?
All right, so the next one we're going to, and this is again another one of mine that's 80%, and probably not a surprise, is Warrior. Um, so Warrior, well, what's your percentage on Warrior?
All right, so my percentage, I was actually blown because I wanted a higher percentage in this. That was the one I wanted, bro. I was like, I
Oh,
want
really?
this joint. Actually, my lowest percentage,
Oh, okay.
65% on the Warrior. I was like hurt. I was like, man, I don't even want to read this shit. So I didn't read. I was like,
That's your lowest, and it's 65,
65 is my lowest.
bro. You're way better than me because one of mine barely got any love, but we'll talk about that later. So, the warrior archetype, men with healthy and mature warrior energy protect themselves and their loved ones from threats. Gillette and Moore believed that the warrior energy had fallen out of favor of modern Western societies due to its association with destruction and dominance. They nonetheless held, however, that warrior energy is a necessary part of mature masculinity and that no man can realize his full potential without it. Far from being pushovers or bullies, men with healthy warrior energy know when to set boundaries, how to make their needs and their rights constructively known to others, and how to take a stand on behalf of those who cannot defend themselves.
Yeah. Now I understand why mine is so low. Let me. I want to talk about that before you explain yours, like how yours is so high. Yeah, I
Good.
see. Like, cause the amount of my we both people please, but I have like a abnormally amount of like people pleasing that I'm trying to get rid of, and even the fact of like defending. I used to. I ain't gonna call me myself a coward, but basically on a long line, like I would shy away from danger if something that needed to be like defended or need to like pursue, right? Like
Hmm.
not even just personal, like not even personal attacks, right? But like let's say work or like getting a promotion or knowing my worth. It's hard for me to be like, I'm going to stand up for myself and for what I know is going to come because I know I deserve it. It's that defending your what you believe is true. It's very hard for me there because I feel like, oh well, if I do this, I like to skirt around. I don't
Hmm.
have that strong. So I'm actually surprised it's as high as it is, even though it's my lowest, because that's I guess that's a testament of how much work I've been putting in. Because some of the questions
Right.
in there, I was like, in my split second, I said, "Yeah, bro, I ain't doing that." Like it was like, I was like, "Of course not." But then I thought about, I was like, "Yo, you asked me a year ago, I would have said, nah, that ain't me." You know what I'm saying? Like some of
Hmm.
those questions, but I guess that's just a testament and the boundary thing, 100%. Loose boundaries, like literally,
There are no edges, no boundaries.
no boundaries. People are just like, "Hey, yo, you want to do this?" I was like, "Ah." Okay, I'll
Well,
do.
this past weekend, I was like, "Hey, you want to go out?" And you were like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay in." I was like, "Look at him setting a boundary,"
Right.
because I ain't really want to be out there for real. Mostly because, like, I enjoy. Let me take that back. I enjoy going out and going to bars and partying and stuff like that. The part that I hate is just getting home because it's usually like a really expensive Uber or something to get pay to get home, and that's the part that I hate the most. Like going to the and then like paying $13 for a beer. Like
Huh?
that part's dumb. Bro, the prices of that bar was ridiculous. I'm never going there again. F you, Tokyo Pearl. I say it, Tokyo Pearl and DuPont. Never going there again.
Cost way
Never
too
going
much.
there
But
again.
was
How
it a
are you a
Bud Light?
Tokyo? Bro, it was a Corona. It was just a Corona. I was like, oh yeah, let me get one of them Coronas. They was just like, okay, cool. I get the check, $13. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Like it wasn't even like an open, like a full pour. It was a can. It was a can. I was hurt.
I'll be
I was
hurt too.
mad. They made it up to me a little bit because like I was just chilling by the bar and I saw like the whole staff taking a shot and I was like, "Where's mine?" Just jokingly, and they gave me a free drink. So they gave me a shot for free.
Oh,
So
nice.
and still, fuck you, Tokyo Pro. Anyway, moving. Oh, I was talking about the
Yeah,
Warriors
you
and the
gotta talk
team.
about your warrior. Yeah.
I mean, it's me to a T. I think that's. I think it is me because I do fight. I'm very argumentative. I will stand up for my friends. I will set boundaries. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I don't like this. Oh, y'all going into the water? Not me. Y'all have fun. Like, if it's not for me, it's not something that I'm not going to excel in, or I don't think I'm going to enjoy. Like even our plans to go to reunion, right? Like initially, we were all going to hop into a minivan, like 2 hours down. Well, for me and my wife, it's like an hour and a half to get to where we're meeting up for the car. And I
Hmm.
was just like, this logically just doesn't make sense. I'm going to have to be that person who's like, hey, I don't want to do this. So let's just change the plan up. And, in the moment, I was like, I really don't want to be that person, but I also know that I would be miserable driving an hour and a half out that way, just sit in a car and for another 4 hours to get to where we're going.
God, Jesus
I was like,
Christ.
that's like 5.5 hours of traveling when I could just turn it into 3 hours of traveling essentially. Like, I will gladly take the latter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, warrior is me. I set boundaries. I defend my friends. I care about them a lot. And yeah, I mean, if you can't defend yourself, I'm gonna stand up for you. And that's kind of goes back to the whole Martin's an asshole thing. But when I'm on your side, you appreciate me and you love me for it. So
Right.
that is what it is. Let's move on to the next category. We're gonna go magician here. So for magician, I ended up with 60%.
60%. Okay.
What
Okay.
about you?
I am a wizard, Harry. I am at night.
Oh,
I am a wizard. I am a wizard, Harry. I'm at 95% for magician.
95?
For
Listen,
magician. I'm a wizard. I'm a wizard, Harry.
he's a wizard, you're a wizard, Harry. You got motherfucking Gandalf over
You
here.
know, getting off the grave, bro.
Bro, what is happening? So you're a magician. I didn't read, so I read my two highest. I didn't read anything else. So I'm really curious to know what the magician says. So, according to Gillette and Moore, the magician is the archetype of thoughtfulness, reflection, awareness, and insight. It's the archetype found in ancient shamans and wizards, as
I'm a
well as
wizard, Harry.
modern psychologists and scientists. Whenever the mature man uses his advanced knowledge, skills, and or technology in the service of others, he can be said to embody the energy of the magician. However, a man does not necessarily need to be a scientist or engineer to access magician energy. Anyone who has skills or knowledge that may impress or aid others can be said to be in touch with the magician. So you are basically the white mage walking around healing everybody, yep,
Yeah,
uplifting them, making sure that everybody else is okay.
yeah, that's what I think. Like I see that if you're the paladin of the warrior king, basically, you're Aragon. We get real nerdy. He's Aragon or Anakin or and I'm like Yoda and a baby Yoda and Gandalf, right? So when I read this, I was like, okay, I can see that. Like I would say like, and it's not like it's a bad like I'm a very thoughtful person. I look out for people. I think we even joked about this in our group chat before, where it's like, without Jermaine, we all be like hitting each like killing each other, and like I wouldn't say it's true. I think y'all be fine, but I am that guy that'll be like everyone else has like high like they have high opinions, and I'll just be like, but why? Why? I,
Why?
why? Why? Or I'll make a take. We have a friend that has very strong opinions. I don't know if he listens to the pod or not, but he's been banned from Facebook a couple of times. So when we have conversations and stuff, and he gets like a little like riled up, I'm like, but have you looked at it this way? And then it's like you see like the temper go down, and it's like I never thought about it that way. I was like, so yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I can see. I really wanted the warrior, but I was like, this is me. I can 100% see this is me.
Yeah,
So
I
I don't
agree.
know
I
about
think
the
that
technology and using that as like I ain't Elon Musk. Like,
yeah, you're not Elon Musk, but you Bill Gates.
all right, I
You
mean,
without you, honestly, I think a lot of friendship groups would break apart. Like everyone individually enjoys spending time with you and be around you because you're a pleasure to have around. Like everyone, you're reliable, you're dependable. You're like the Energizer Bunny. You just keep going and going and going. You're steadfast. We trust you, and we know you're always going to be there for us. And you also find a way to bring us all together at some point. Like I get all the gossip from you. I'm like, what's going on with Sammy and Steve? What's going on with so and so?
right,
Because I know
right.
you talking to them, and I'm sure vice versa. Like, oh, how Martin doing? Blah blah. Blah. He
Oh,
good.
a
All right,
hundred
cool.
percent, a hundred.
Right. So
percent.
they're intermediary, so I don't feel like I have to go out and see them way out when, and I do go and I do appreciate going out there and seeing them, spending time with them.
But yeah,
But
it's a
you're the
trek.
glue that keeps us together. It's
Yeah,
definitely a check for me, but you're the glue that keeps us all together, and we love you. We appreciate you being in our lives, and it's your magic. It's your
I
charm.
I
You're
appreciate it.
yeah, bro. You are a wizard.
I mean, I used to think my goofiness or like everyone used to say, "Dang, bro, like Jermaine, you just easy target, bro. It's just easy to pick on you, and, like mess with you and stuff." I used to take that as like, I mean, all right, look, I mean, I
Go
used to take
ahead.
that as like a an offense, right? Sometimes it was, but most of the time I look at it like, okay, I can use this for good instead of looking at, like with great power comes great responsibility. I could have been Spider Man could have been a
I
sideshow.
would say, all right, Spider Man.
Spider Man could have been a sideshow. He could have been like, hey yo, I'm goofy. I'm a nerd. I got like, my spider webs and stuff like that. Or he can level up. And that's what I ended up deciding to do. I used to have that on my shoulder and be like, hey yo man, people are just gonna talk about me, pick me because they're like, you're an easy target, right? I flipped that. Instead of saying like I'm an easy target, I'm just a joy. I'm just gonna make you laugh. I'm just a joy to be around. And then you're gonna want to talk to me. Instead of being a punching bag, I'm uplifting you and making you and bringing you up without you. And you just talking, making me like. It's not that. It's like what is the word? What's the term? It's like they're laughing at you, not with you. Now they're laughing
Hmm.
with me, not at me. And I'm like,
Right.
that's how I like grew from there. So that's my little piece about being a magician. If people laughing at you, maybe you goofy. Go goofy. Shit, I was. Or you do something weird. Yeah, I did.
like the Like become a panther,
because I became a cat than the
the
Black
original
Panther,
Black Panther.
the Black Panther Amanda. But from that, I took my comedy, my way of life, like how I look at it, don't take the life too seriously, and willing to make a fool of myself. Not before it was to be a clown, to be laughed at, to now like I'm gonna do something to shock people and make them laugh. And I'm surprised HR hasn't been called on me yet. Anyways, let's go to
Oh my god.
the next,
Okay.
the next
So
and
the
final.
last archetype, yeah,
I'm
the
scared.
last archetype, the masculine archetype. And I'm gonna be upfront with you. This is my lowest. This is my lowest. It's not gonna be a surprise to a lot of people who know me. My lowest is the lover. 55% for me.
55%.
55
Is it gonna
percent.
get
I
that
didn't know it could go this low.
low?
I didn't know it could go that low. I thought they were just gonna give you at least
Oh
65 and
my-
stuff. Bro, no, that one was just like, oh nah, bro. Like if you look at the image, like it's like a little dot. Like they just
no.
didn't want to hurt my feelings. They were like, we're gonna give him 55, but it ain't there yet. My
Goddamn.
lover is the lowest archetype by far. What
All
about
right.
you?
So you have 55. So that's funny. It's a cross, right? So my lover is actually 75%. So it's interesting to see that you have more warrior and I have more lover. It's very that's
True.
but I think that kind of makes sense a little bit, right? Like, you know, before we go, I didn't read the lover. What is the lover? The lover. I was gonna say lover class. Like this is a fucking video game. What is the
Bro,
lover
we can
class?
turn it into a game.
I
Yeah,
mean, look.
no. So the lover archetype covers not just those who are open to erotic desires and romantic relationships, but also a general appreciation of life. According to Gillette and Moore, all true artists are in touch with the lover. Men have access to lover energy, can enjoy the many pleasures of life, from great food and warm friendships to the magnificence of nature, in ways that others just can't. Lover energy should not be seen as superficial or selfish hedonism, but as participation to mystical unity that underpins all of life. In other words, the man accessing his lover is in touch with his surroundings in a way that lends meaning to life to both him and others.
So what you're trying to tell me is he fucks. I mean,
Well, that and also you stay present and you're like in the moment. I think that that's one of the big parts of being a oop, kicking my damn tripod. But like one of the big things of being a lover is that you stay in the moment, you enjoy this time with other people around you, and you get bitch. I mean, you you just hook up and stuff. Like I don't know,
yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
I was like with the lover because you mentioned the like appreciation of life and it made me laugh. I don't know if you've seen any episode of Sopranos, but it's recently like Jamie would like Jamie would comment. He was like, "Bro, why you give a fuck? All right, if you don't live in Northern Virginia or like Maryland, DMV area or whatever, that general area, we have a lot of fucking Canadian geese here. Like a
Yes, we
lot of
do.
fucking Canadian geese." And I would tell Jamie, I was like, "Hey, yo, bro, I was on a run today, and I just stopped and started looking at these fucking ducks, bro." And I was like, "Bro, these fucking ducks are beautiful, man." And he was like, "What the fuck was wrong with you?" I was like, "And they were taking care of their kids." I was like, "This shit was beautiful." And then like it made me think of if you haven't seen Sopranos, or at least the first like literally the first episode of Sopranos, Tony like talks about these ducks, right? It's these
Hmm.
ducks that he take care of in his pond, and then they fly away. It's literally the first episode. It's not spoiling anything. And then they fly away. And the therapist like afterwards, he was like, "Oh, so what happened when the ducks fly away?" This man started crying. And he was like,
Oh
"This is a
man.
mob boss." He started crying. He was like, "Man, them ducks, man, they did something to me. It was just like so beautiful, so natural." I was like, I'm fucking Tony Soprano crying over these fucking ducks, bro. But no, like a interesting that's an interesting point. But yeah, I can see like why I was like, okay, I thought my lover was gonna be like, I was hoping for Warrior and then like Magician, and I was like, okay. And I thought Lover was gonna be high, but I was like, okay. I mean, very present and stuff like that. So what do you think about your score?
I'm be honest with you. If I was running and I seen some ducks chilling in a pond, I'm just keep running. Like I don't care about the ducks at all. Like yeah, they're just ducks. Like I appreciate them for what they are. They are wildlife. They are nature. They're a part of our ecosystem. I get it. But the first thought that comes to mind was the Canadian geese. They are mean. They are angry.
That's what
They
Jamie
are
said.
horrible. And I don't want to be around that energy because it's gonna take away from my crown, my kingdomship, my kingdom, like all of that. Like, it's gonna affect my peace. So I'm like, I'm just gonna leave them alone because if I stop and watch them, they're gonna be like, "Yo, what you looking at, cuz?" And I ain't trying to. I'm not trying to deal with that. I don't want that problem. I don't want that problem. So I'm just gonna keep running. I mean, I do think, in the sense of lover, I think that my warrior kind of compensates for my love because, like, I do love taking care of other people and like defending them, and I think that's a different form of love.
Mhm.
But my love isn't going to be like, wow, look at this tree, look at this view, look at this. It's like just appreciating being where I am in space and time and how I got there and being with the people that I care about. I
Mm.
think that's more important to me than the actual space itself, if that makes sense.
Right, that makes sense. So, example, and this is again, I'm not throwing shade or anything, just asking questions. So, when we were in Charleston and that we were watching the sun, well, you weren't with us with the sunrise,
I
but
wasn't.
you were with us when the sunset. Was it
Hmm.
more about the community that was around you at that moment, or like the? I mean, I guess for me, it's gonna be the same thing because versus just seeing the sunset, like.
Yeah, I mean, the views are great, but that's not everything for me. I think it was really cool just having everybody come together and experiencing that moment together. Like, you saw me, I had my phone out taking pictures of y'all looking at the sunset. Like, it
Mm,
wasn't even about the sunset itself. I was like, let me get some candid pictures and some memories for to share with everybody else because, it's me being that provider, that caretaker, that those traits that I do have in me. So that's my
mm.
king. That's my king
That's your
archetype.
that's your
I'm
king.
like, and I think there's merit in that. My lover is low, and I just thought to myself, it's like, man, I don't know how my wife puts up with me.
But at least like when they elaborate, it's not just like the since
It's
like
not just the
emotional
emotional.
part. It's like the
Hmm.
which I like thought was interesting because I was like, is it the romance part or is it like you can be a lover? And it seems like it's other things in lover, not just specifically
Not just
romance.
physically to the romance side of relationship. It's also just appreciating everything around you and just being happy to be awake. Like just gratitude. It's
It's
gratitude, really.
gratitude.
It's like I'm grateful that I got to get up this morning and go for a run and look myself in the mirror and feel and smell myself. Like that's that's all. That's the lover energy entirely. I have been lacking that. I'm just getting into that side, so I get the rating. I'm not as offended as I was as, then like now. Like I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I'm working on that.
It'll be interesting for like next year that we do this again and see where we are again, in the coming years. If we've improved, if something's decreased. It'll be an interesting thing. But overall I feel like this test was a very helpful way of seeing what masculinity is. I like it. Like separating out these traits and all of them didn't seem very like overbearing or dominant or aggressive, like most like I ain't gonna say the liberal media, but but like just like the media or Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or will say like this is what a man is to be overpowering, overbearing, like a tyrant, very like they'll like I know in the we're gonna have an episode of that. I'm very excited for it. But they have like a lot of like imagery of like a lion and like lion,
Oh
bears,
yeah.
like alpha male, like type stuff versus like this. Even the king and the warrior, which you would think like, oh, king is gonna be tyrant, warrior is gonna be like someone that's aggressive. Both of them come from love. It all
Hmm.
comes from love, and that's why I think honestly, towards the end of this pod, and I'm gonna say my thing has changed. I do think, man, like masculinity is about owning up to your stuff, giving credit where credit is due and doing and getting the job done, but also is love and vulnerability in there. And we saw that in this in these descriptions on it because it seems like it's a lot of caring involved to be in masculinity, or at least
Yeah.
and I agree. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree too. Like, I think that this is all about care and love and looking at not only for the self, but I think that like self love is important. I think that's a big part of masculinity. But there's also the care for others and just care for what you're interested in. Like, I'm really interested in uplifting. I'm really interested in protecting the people who are close to me and showing your archetypes. Is like you're caring more about like the environment. You're caring more about the things that you know just keeping people together in general, like the group element. I think that that's what is really helpful to bring us all together as a group, and it makes us good partners because we're kind of like on opposite ends of the spectrum a little bit, but like you can't have one without the other. It's like you pick up where I leave up, just like when you fumble the podcast in the beginning. I like help you up, and when I fuck up a segue or a transition, you got me too. So I think that that's a good spot to end it.
Awesome.
Um, I think that, if you guys enjoyed the episode, just let us know. You can reach out to us via Facebook, Instagram, and email. Our Facebook is your Unsolicited Counseling Podcast. You can find us at Instagram at Unsolicited Counseling. You can find us via email at youadvicepodcast@gmail.com. And you can find us on YouTube at Unsolicited Counseling Podcast. Yeah, you have any parting words that you want to share? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, awesome. That I feel like the kitchen sink hitting you. Uh,
Yeah, it is.
but yeah, like Martin said, like hit us up on our socials. We're gonna come up with a part two, like we mentioned before. It's gonna be on the darker side. We already did the Jedi path. We're going Sith, so we're gonna talk about toxic masculinity next in the next episode. So stay on the lookout. Keep following us and stuff. And as always, guys, we love you guys. We're here for you guys. One drink at a time, one episode at a time. Be easy, y'all.
Latest.